Hey, Assalamu alaikum. Let's understand about the nicotine. What is the nicotine? And we will learn about all these things about the nicotine. If you are a smoker, if you are a patch consumer, or if you are a nicotine consuming through vape. So let's understand about that. Number one thing is important is that the smoking is the different inflammatory stimulator because smoke will burn your alveoli of the lungs because it will cancer causing agent. Also, not only nicotine, the smoke contain tar, smoke contain the other cancerous agents and a lot more free radicals basically which that smoke, but also the carbon monoxide which that decrease the oxygen and oxygen hemoglobin affinity to bind will decrease, will lead to not transport the oxygen to the tissue. That is the problem. So let's understand about nicotine as a drug. So nicotine is a different thing. Nicotine you can consume through patches without smoking. So let's understand about that. Nicotine is naturally occurring alkaloid found in tobacco plants. So it's contain rich amount of the nicotine in the tobacco plant. So it is stimulant and psychoactive substance, but it is stimulate. For example, your brain function properly, your cognitive power will increase for certain time, but it will decline, and you require more and more nicotine. Remember about that thing. So nicotine is important to stimulate the dopamine. So here is the note which that we are understanding. So nicotine stimulate the dopamine to release, and the dopamine will give the pleasure, relaxation, and the muscle contraction efficiently. And in this way, your dopamine will cognitive improvement will increase due to the dopamine. But the overstimulation of the dopamine is harmful. So effect on the body, the positive effect is that cognitive enhancement, focus and attention. You can learn easily through smoking nicotine, and the neuroprotection and anxiety and stress relief. But it is not a long life. It is basically the certain duration of the time in your life. But you should add more and more nicotine content. In this way, the nicotine quantity when you will increase, so you can feel the previous experience. So in this way, positive feedback which that will lead to increase again and again the nicotine one after one. So in this way, you will be addicted, and that is the problem. This is an addictive substance, nicotine. Digestive system improve mobility of gut muscle, but this is the basically some study shows that the nicotine is very important anti-cancer of the colon, but it is basically harmful because it is the addictive substance. You can consume any other digestive compounds for digestion of your food, which that is easy and non-addictive substance. So negative effect is addiction, cardiovascular risk, because the carbon monoxide bond with the hemoglobin to not provide the efficient oxygen to the heart muscle. So in this way, on the other hand, the reactive oxygen species will increase, lead to inflammation into the cardiovascular system, will lead to cause coronary artery disease, which that will lead to heart rate increase and the blood pressure, while on the other hand, a lot more problem. Respiratory problem is the pregnancy complication and respiratory problem due to if you are consuming smoke, if you are consuming cigarette, while on the other hand, the respiratory disorder and respiratory problem can be minor due to the simple nicotine consumption. But pregnancy complication, basically the epigenetic mutation can occur, and the fetus will basically change their DNA, damage the DNA, and effect is known as the xenobiotics to the chronic xenobiotic consumption to the fetus will lead to cause damage and cause disability. Increase the risk of cancer and inflammation. So remember, addiction and withdrawal. So the withdrawal of the nicotine is very difficult. But remember, one important thing from my side is that you should don't use the patches from the smoking because it is also addiction. You should completely quit the smoking. That is the simple way. So in this way, the nicotine addiction is highly likely due to its rapid brain penetration, and withdrawal symptoms include irritability, anxiety, and our craving. So remember about that things, important things you should need to understand. The nicotine, whenever basically if you want to quit the nicotine, you should quit first the sugar, because sugar craving basically increase the nicotine consumption, because the sugar, whenever the insulin level will be increased, so in this way the nicotine consumption enhancement also increase, and the glucose metabolism also increase due to the nicotine. So nicotine basically increase the excitation of the nerve for the dopamine release and excitation, pleasure, and the basically the fuzziness, relaxation, but it is not long term, it is minor. So on the other hand, the nicotine replacement therapy can be gum, lozenges, patches, inhalers, vaping, snus, smoke less tobacco, and the nicotine gum. But this is basically the nonsense things, because you should, if you want to quit the smoking, so basically quit all this type of the nicotine products, because this is basically you are even not quitting the addiction, you are quitting the only smoking. So that is not things. Basically you should quit the all type of the nicotine. That is the major reason. So how to quit? It is meditation, prayer, and try to exercise and get involved in the family, and consume the time in the family and in the friend, and basically you should maintain the busyness in your life. The nicotine resistance is basically it is same like a insulin resistance, because the nicotine receptor will damage our time, will lead to overstimulation of nicotine, resist binding affinity and damage. So here is the diagram which that show the nicotine when bind will lead to excite the dopamine neurotransmitter to excite the acetylcholine neurotransmitter, which that bind with the muscle to contract. So that is why acetylcholine neurotransmitter. So in this way the muscle contraction easily, in this way you will breathe easily, you will your digestive muscle will improve, and in this the bowel movement increase, the mobility, the peristaltic movement will be increased. And in this way the nicotine is very addictive substance. Our consumption will lead to nicotine resistance, like the insulin resistance. In this way you should consume more nicotine. So previous time, if you want to get the previous experience, you should increase the dose. So this is the addiction, because it is a positive feedback. So that is not things good. So I hope you make sense about that. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next video. For this time, bye. Allah.